Hello and happy tea day! I know it's been a while since I've gone live for a tea. It's because I've been enjoying summer, organizing my house, and gardening. And that takes a lot of time and effort. Also, spending time with my kids. That's been really nice. I'm a little sad that they're going back to school in a couple weeks. But anyway, so today I have a salted caramel mocha. And it's not technically a tea, but what I do is I put some coffee in a tea ball and I dip it in so it's not very strong and I don't have to deal with making a whole pot of coffee just for a little bit of coffee. I use like a teaspoon, so there's no point in doing that. And it's made with bone broth protein, so I've got some gut supporting things in it. I use this also and I throw it. There we go. Okay, so my garden has been exploding with growth lately. Some of the things that I've grown are pumpkins, and those plants died, but we harvested a bunch. I've got my blue Hubbard squash. This is the biggest one I got. It's not very big. It's probably about 5 pounds, but it's still enough to give us some food. And this is just called an heirloom pumpkin that my daughter's growing. I don't know if there's a specific name for it. This is a New England pie pumpkin, made specifically for making pies out of, and this is a pumpkin. I'll probably make a pie or stew out of that also. So all of these will be turned into pies, maybe a pumpkin roll or two, and maybe some stew because pumpkin's really good with beef. And then I've got this little baby honey nut squash. These are really cute, but I have not had a lot of luck in getting a lot off my plants, so I don't know if I'll grow them again. But we'll see. I've got some purple bell peppers, some purple beans, and somewhere around here I have one purple pea from my daughter's garden. Here we go. Most of these died last week, so this is the only one I could find. But she did great in growing purple things. She grew purple lettuce, purple peppers, purple peas. She's growing blue corn and purple basil, and then some little purple flowers. I forget the name of those, but it was a pretty cool garden this year that she grew. Then I've got lemon squash, zucchini, green and yellow. And then this is a light skinned zucchini, and it seems like the skin's more tender, so I like to make salad out of this and just eat it raw. I'll have like onion, this, sometimes tomatoes, and I'll throw it all in the food processor and then add some salt and pepper and some avocado oil mayo, and it's almost like coleslaw. I just eat it that way. So that's one option if you grow that. Here are some green apple cucumbers. I like these plants because they're very prolific, but once they decide that they want to die, they get big and yellow and seedy and they don't taste as good. So you have to make sure you pick them when they're small. Not this small. This plant was dying, so I just grabbed this. Like maybe in between these two sizes. That's when they taste best. And then I have my zucchino. This is a fun little zucchini type thing. And the most fun one of all, the cucuzzi. So long. So these will grow in your garden and kind of twirl around and wrap up. But because it's growing from the top of my trellis, it just hangs down and it grows straight. And if you let it keep going, it's a gourd, so the skin will get hard. But I don't know what to do with a gourd when it's just a gourd. So I pick it when it's young and tender, and then I can cut it up and eat it and put it in salad or whatever. And then here are the tomatoes. Lots of tomatoes right now. These are from my plants and my son's plants. So the tomatoes, they started getting diseased and dying. So what I did was I found some healthy branches and I cut them off and I stuck them in water. I'm going to root them and then put them in another part of the garden to get some more tomatoes from before the season ends. And then my son just had a ton of Roma tomatoes that are they're hiding because they weren't staked. They didn't have tomato cages. So we didn't even realize how many tomatoes there were in there until he started digging through them this morning. And there were a lot. So that's really exciting. I can make salsa, spaghetti sauce. Those are usually the things that I do with tomatoes. And also, of course, sandwiches and salads. So one thing that's interesting about tomato plants is even when you've got a bunch of green ones like I did and the plants are dying, you can still use them. All you have to do is just pick them when they're green and set them aside somewhere to ripen. So one of my friends in Indiana, she did that and she got so many, probably hundreds of green tomatoes, so that well into the fall she was eating red tomatoes that were fresh-ish from her garden. I mean, they were homegrown and all that, so that was great. So that's what I've got. I've probably got more than this in a box of tomatoes that are green and just ripening, and that'll probably take a few weeks. So that's fun. And then I replanted where the tomatoes were. I replanted peas to help fix the nitrogen that the tomatoes took as they grew. And the tomatoes that I replant, I'm going to put in a different part of the garden that was growing beans. And it actually had beans, squash, and corn, and the squash took over everything. We did get some beans out of that. That's where the purple beans came from. They were tough. They climbed the trellis in a beautiful manner, and so we got lots of purple beans. That was great. So that's what's going on with my garden these days. The last time I did a live, I was going to read The Hobbit, but then I misplaced it, and I was watching North and South on TV. So after I finished watching that, I thought, okay, I'll just read the book North and South, which I had laying around my house. Spoiler alert, this is not about the United States, although it does involve different cultures, different ways of looking at things, and cotton manufacturing. And it's set in the 1800s, and it's a really good book. I enjoyed it a lot. As I said before, I like historical fiction because I like to see a glimpse into different cultures, and it's just so fun to read material from the 1800s because Victorian lifestyle, especially in Great Britain, is just so different from today, but you can see echoes of it in our lives today. And for good and bad, they lived very differently and conducted themselves in a very different manner. And yeah, it's really cool to read. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to talk about, I don't want to talk about patches today. The patches are great. I love the patches. If you want patches, contact me. But biofeedback, now that the school year is about to start, I want to get my schedule kind of down. So if you're interested in trying biofeedback, I can do a quick mini scan on you to give you an idea of areas of your body that are sluggish or slow or just have low energy, generally speaking, and areas that are functioning better. So if you're interested in just a free overview mini scan, just contact me. I can do that. You can write biofeedback in the comments or whatever, or DM me. And then if you're interested in using it and having me give you therapy regularly, of course, I'd be happy to line you up as a client if I have the space. But I just want to get all that squared away before school starts and I start a new routine and a new schedule. So please contact me or write biofeedback in the comments if you're interested in that. And the nice thing about that is it's more of a service than the patches. The patches, it's like, okay, this is what you need help with. I give you a patch and it's all on you. And that's nice for me because then you're responsible for your own, how you handle that. With the biofeedback, it's in my hands, but also I get all the profit. I don't have to, it's not like I'm getting a small cut from another company. It's like, this is my business that I run out of my home. So if that's something that interests you, then just let me know. So the last thing I wanted to tell you is it is not too late to replant. I don't remember if I said this in this live or if I mentioned it in the one that I was trying to pre-record and it failed. But yeah, August is second summer and it's like a little later than you really want to get started, but there are some things like radishes that you can plant now and they'll be ready in 30 or 45 days. Carrots, things that are frost hardy, peas, that you can plant now and you'll get them even after it frosts. You can get some vegetables. And then other things you might want to look into, just be careful if you plant squash or cucumbers, because we only have, at least in zone 6 where I am, we only have about 60 days before the first average frost. So make sure you're getting things that will ripen before that or that will be frost hardy. So good luck, happy gardening, and happy tea day!